Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Rockebrand with the Santa Barbara County Office of Emergency Management, here in support of Lake County's County Administrating Officer, Matt Perry. We're going to give you a brief update today in terms of the current status with the fire. I'd like to introduce first District 5 Supervisor Rob Brown.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm devastated by the destruction that our community has faced in this disaster. The damage is immense and it's widespread. It's heartbreaking, and as a county supervisor, it's my job to make sure that all the citizens of this county are well represented. I never envisioned that I would have to face the challenges that lay ahead. These are not just my constituents, they are my neighbors. These are my friends, and this is my home. This is Lake County. And I know that this county has a resiliency and sense of community that makes it special. We will band together and support each other in our time of need. We will help each other and accept help. We will be strong. I would like to thank the men and women who are spending night and day to assist in this effort. The EOS, firefighters, volunteers, and people all across the country who are donating to provide relief. In a time of difficulty, it is inspiring to see such a sense of community. We are coordinating an unprecedented response to this disaster and encourage all of you to visit www.lakecountylac.com for additional information. It is a tremendous resource in our time of need and contains current information on all of the help available as we move towards recovery. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring up from CAL FIRE Battalion Chief Mike Smith, Information Officer, to give us a brief update of the status of the fire.
Good afternoon. As of today, the fifth day of this incident, there are nearly 3,600 firefighters from across the western United States battling a fire that's grown to greater than 73,000 acres. As of now, 35% of this fire's perimeter has been contained, and we expect those numbers to rise over the next few days. We'd like to remind everyone that although we got rain across the fire in the area surrounding it, we can't allow that to lull us into a state of complacency. It's warmer today. We expect the temperature to rise into the 90s over the weekend with a change in both wind speed and wind direction. So those firefighters will continue to fight this fire on all fronts and continue to do what they can to protect the infrastructure in the area and the remainder of homes, both inside this fire perimeter and the perimeter outside the fire perimeter and the surrounding areas. Thank you.
We're going to get a brief update now from Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin regarding law enforcement efforts regarding this fire.
Thank you. And again, I want to echo the sentiments of Supervisor Brown. This is tragic and devastating. It's sad for all of us. We're now coming to the point where we need to start dusting ourselves off, picking up and recovering as a community. The Sheriff's Office had started an escort program to allow people in to get into to feed their animals, tend to their livestock, and we're discontinuing that as we need to reroute our resources towards the repopulation effort. The message I want to put out is if you have animals that need to be fed, contact Lake County Animal Care and Control to make arrangements. They have a team of dedicated professionals on standby and ready to respond to that. We've had several reports of missing people. If you have anybody that you believe is missing as a result of this fire or for any reason, please contact the Lake County Sheriff's Office at 707-263-2690. We've had 3 confirmed fatalities so far as a result of this fire. We expect and anticipate that we're going to find more. This fire simply moved too fast for us to respond and for people to get out in a timely manner. It's tragic, it's devastating, and we want to ensure that we don't have any more loss of life. A lot of the areas are going to continue to remain closed, but we are actively working, taking steps to start repopulation efforts. Repopulation has started in some of the outlying edges of the affected fire areas. The areas of various estates in Napa Valley have been repopulated effective at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll continue to work hard to make sure that people are allowed to return. It is important to realize that we need to make sure that the area is safe. Just because the fire appears to be out doesn't mean that all the hazards have been mitigated. There are hazardous conditions that exist. Trees that have been burned and weakened are falling. There's power lines out there. There's hazardous material that is left behind as a result of this fire. We want to make sure, again, I cannot stress this enough, that we make sure it is safe as possible to get you back in, but know that we are working to get you back in as soon as possible. There have been reports of several arrests that have been made. People are taking advantage of this disaster to engage in unscrupulous activity. We have outside law enforcement agencies that have sent officers and deputy sheriffs, CHP officers, game wardens, state park rangers, and others to help us in the enforcement and patrol areas. Our officers are out patrolling the evacuated areas day and night. They have made several arrests, including one man who was arrested for impersonating a peace officer, another for possession of burglary tools and warrants and possession of controlled substance paraphernalia. And we'll have information on 2 additional arrests that have been made last night. The information will be released shortly. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be David Fukutomi from the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services.
Good afternoon. We're here to support the county and coordinate the state agencies that are providing support not only to the county and the local government agencies, but to those survivors. In addition to state agency representatives under the California Master Mutual Aid system, we have dozens of emergency managers and other local government personnel from across the state here to assist their fellow local agency reps as they respond and ultimately coordinate the recovery from this devastating fire. As a result of Governor Brown's proclamation of a state of emergency, in addition to resources and personnel, we're able to make available financial aid to the local governments here to offset these costs, and we will be working with them to advance funds to help offset the cost of these, and so they can continue the vital response and recovery efforts here. We'll be here to continue to support the local government and the citizens here as they move into the recovery phase down the road. We appreciate the valiant efforts not only of the firefighters, but of all the local government employees here, many of who have suffered effects from the fires and the evacuations themselves. Thank you.
Our last presenter will be Carol Hutchinson from the Department of Social Services here in Lake County. And subsequent to that, we will have a brief moment of opportunity for questions and answers. We do have to get these fine folks back to the field so they can perform their duties as assigned. So we appreciate your patience in that. I will give you a brief update after Carol gives her talking points about next steps for press conferences.
Good afternoon. I'm leading the team that has been working on care and shelter throughout the event. You may be aware that county staff are operating a shelter at present and have been for a number of days at the Highland Senior Center in Clear Lake. American Red Cross staff are operating a shelter at Kelseyville High School. Tomorrow afternoon, that shelter will close and the folks in it will transition to Grace Church in Kelseyville. In addition to that, we're planning for sheltering in the Middletown area, planning for the time that the road will open and the evacuees from the south will come back into Lake County. We're still working on who will operate the shelter, whether it will be the county or American Red Cross. The location is going to be the event center at the Twin Pine Casino. The tribe is being incredibly supportive and generous to us in this effort. We just can't thank them enough for welcoming our shelter operation there. We're also planning for the opening of a local assistance center, and the intention is for that to start on Saturday at the Middletown Senior Center and Library there in the middle of town, provided that the community is being allowed back into southern Lake County. If the community is not back in yet, the opening of the LAC will coincide with the time they are.
I wanted to again thank everybody for coming out on such short notice. Moving forward, our objective is to hold a press conference at this location daily at 1 p.m. Okay, moving forward, 1 p.m. at this location, we will hold a daily press conference regarding updates and status for repopulation, shelter operations, fire operations, and law enforcement operations. At this time, we'd like to open it to questions. Again, we'd like to get the folks back to the field, so if we can keep it brief and short, please identify yourself by name and agency, and the respective party will come up to address that question. Sir.
Okay, so Mayor, will Calistoga close, will the fairgrounds close, or will that remain open?
At the point all evacuees are out of Calistoga, we would anticipate that it would close. However, I understand that the repopulation is being contemplated in phases, so I would anticipate anticipate that the shelter will remain open as those phases progress.
Any other questions?
What's the official acreage?
The acreage as estimated last night was 73,700 acres with perimeter containment to a percentage of 35%.
Any other questions? Sir,
Are any volunteers?
name and agency, sir?
Daniel Lucas, Valley, Eritrea.
Okay.
Are volunteers needed for any of your efforts?
Volunteers are going to be needed for a lot of efforts throughout this event. It's going to be a long recovery, and people that are interested in volunteering, we're asking that you contact North Coast Opportunities. They are leading a volunteer program for Lake County. You can see this on their website, or you can call them directly at their Ukiah office. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
In addition to that, if folks from out of the area are seeking to volunteer, that Cal Volunteers is coordinating registering volunteers and actually assigning them or making available opportunities that they can meaningfully volunteer for specific unmet needs here in support of the county. So future briefings will provide a little more detail about that, but they can register with Cal Volunteers on the web.
Okay, thank you all very much for your patience and understanding, and we'll, again, press conference here at this location tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you very much.